for that proposed project. Secondly, the amount I just spoke about does not include design, does not include any kind of the front end portion of the project, because the 1.1 million that we have is exclusively for construction. The other issues that we have with that project are that they are outside county jurisdiction. So who is the entity who is going to make sure that the design is done correctly? Who is going to hire the engineer with the right qualifications to make sure that they do the right design, quality checks, all the review processes that we go through for our projects? Who is going to go and do the construction administration for a project like that? And actually, does the scope even cover what needs to be done there? Because is culvert replacement just the only thing that needs to be done at that location, or probably there's more to the story that has actually not been looked at all? And so I feel that the 600,000, first of all, is way off base, and there are several jurisdictional issues that we have with the project. And same with the Fawn Meadows HOA. It's a HOA that's a private subdivision. There are several of them in our county who would love the opportunity to get $80,000 to get right-of-ways that are not up to the county standard to be paved. And so why are they not being given the opportunity to apply for infrastructure or the ARPA funds that are available here?
Well, they were given the opportunity, they did not apply.
And so are we okay?
I think is the answer to that question.
And are we okay as a jurisdictional authority to start having right-of-ways that are less than our regulations that are
I don't think anything's been said. I don't think anything's been said about
Partha,
that.
all of these have been scratched already on this list by staff.
No,
so I mean, we could spend all day talking about them.
Sounds good.
And I concur that if these entities applied, it was wide open, it was public knowledge, and they were the only ones that applied, they have every right to apply and get priority over people that didn't bother to apply. But we're not, it's not really going to happen.
They have the right to apply, but we don't have to.
That's right, and they're off the list.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just telling you from the point of view of the county road and bridge, and again, it's up to your discretion how you really use the funds, but I think there are fatal flaws in the basic understanding of these projects and their scopes to what I would recommend that you do not.
Well, then I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Huh? Yeah.
And this conversation was necessary. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's exactly the reason why I needed to bring her in, so because I think it was Mr. Cahill that actually did he has a 23-page presentation. I think that Commissioner Ford, I think you may have that was for Greenleaf, and the problem is using public funds for a private purpose is not allowed. And so that was part of the equation, but also you needed to hear from Road and Bridge and to give them an opportunity to hear from.
I'm going to disagree with you. We've been told by our consultant that we can use public funds, ARPA funds.
ARPA.
Right.
But we can't violate state law. The ARPA money still, we have to comply with the state law, which is we cannot use them for a private purpose.
Okay. We're spending a lot of time talking about something that's already been scratched.
Yeah, but again,
Well-
so we're all on the same page. It's out in the open. We're all, what the position is, or
I think it's unfortunate that we led those people down a long path, but it's over.
So let me go up a little bit. It's under the heading of second priority, but Friends for Life and Scotty's House. I think it's Scotty's House that actually has been reduced, and the reason being is I believe Nina Payne was in touch with Scotty's House based upon their request, and so it was a conversation that they had with her as to the amount of money that they were seeking.
During this preview or the review of all the projects, I did get in contact with Scotty's House, asking them to explain a couple, go more in detail regarding some of the projects they wanted to get completed. They did receive funding elsewhere for some of them, which was about half of the amount, and asked them if it would be okay if we could decrease half of it since they already received some of it, which is about $25,000. So Scotty's House did receive funding from other areas to cover some of the projects. which aren't needed, and so that's why it was decreased from 50 to 25. Any questions?
So,
No?
in order to give a nonprofit funds like this under ARPA, we do have to have a sub-recipient agreement in place. I talked to Trailer this morning that's going through, I think, additional revisions before we can put anything on for court to go ahead and push those through. The housing assistance program, I believe originally it was set at $2 million, and again, this is, you know, open for discussion. We did set the money at $250,000 because we asked Trailer what is out there for us to be able to do program-wise. They've got more information. What I'll be telling you over the next 30 seconds is just based upon what they've told me, and they can elaborate. But essentially, the only program that they could find was through the COG, and because it's a COG program, they offer services to the COG area. And what the COG would have to do is prioritize Brazos County citizens, and their program also has a cap of $5,000 per home. So one of the things I think Commissioner Cawley indicated is a desire to help for like wheelchair accessibility. And the problem there is when they talk to the COG is that there's no business, so to speak. It was essentially, I guess, the handyman that the COG uses. So we were kind of left still scratching our head to find an avenue in order for that to happen.
Was I guess the ramps project is not a 501c3?
And I'm not aware of that project. That's something-
Yeah, it's an entity.
Okay.
It's called ramps, I think. I know that I've seen presentations in civic events from them, and I don't know if they're a 501c3, but my guess would be is from the level of work that they do.
Commissioner,
I'm gonna-
would you speak up?
Why
I
don't we
can't
take
hear you.
I'm sorry.
5-minute break?
Okay.
Do we need a motion?
Huh?
No motion?
Nah, let's.
I don't know if we need a motion to do that.
Okay.
It's done.
The same thing, Commissioner.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got about 4 minutes whenever you get up there.
Only 4 minutes?
Commissioner, wasn't you that said we wanted to be out of here in an hour?
And I do think process there because
And I've got one more issue that I need to talk to him about, so,
over the next
yeah, let's go.
6 hours, the only thing I can eat is only nutrition I'm going to get is going to be radioactive sugar pumped into my mouth. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna come back from the recess we just took, so
Well-
Ed, take back off.
Thank you, Judge, and I think I'm almost done, and Trailer can take the podium here in a second. The last things that are on my list are just the addition, or basically we moved them up, the ISD and the North Wing. And the reason behind it was, I think the North Wing was already allocated for $2 million. The North Wing's got some issues. Katie actually reached out to me months ago, and because Ernest had concerns prior to the roof being on there was some water damage. They need to get in there. Work needs to be done. We need to move forward, probably expeditiously, because the longer we wait, the potential is there for further damage to be done. So that was kind of one of those spillovers. If in the event that there was money left over, that absolutely, in order to take care of our own buildings, this building, and also for the additional office space. I've been hearing it repeatedly. I'll point to my auditor as well, because she's been here so long, that we need that additional office space, and the hope was the court would allocate it towards HR. And honestly, my thing is training. There needs to be countywide training for supervisors, for employees, private spaces for employees to talk to HR, to talk about retirement and so forth. Their little suite, they've outgrown it, and that space will be is an appropriate area. And my hope is that we would put on an RFP in the next coming weeks in order to do something in regards to that space. But again, at a bare minimum, it needs to be remediated based upon the fact we've got a new roof now and we're ready to go. BISD, of course, that's a big ticket item. I just talked to Commissioner Ford a bit, and there's originally this was a number that I think Commissioner Berry got from Fred Payne, and I actually heard it directly from Fred and questioned him heavily on it. How are you getting that number? How are you getting that number? And he was using a square footage remodel based upon his work with Gessner that he got from a professional prior coworker, and I think it was estimated about $350 remodel per square foot for office space. And he estimated at that time when we acquired that building at $15 million. Of course, that may be more, but I know the issue is personal for me just because I have represented to the TIBC our ability to be able to provide additional office space for a larger public defender's office. And that, I believe, is so important given the fact that we're growing and indigent defense is an important component. And the fact we've already been pre-approved for a step-down grant after our 2 years of our COVID grant runs out. So and I think it's been pointed out, these things don't happen overnight. We have to proceed forward. And Commissioner Ford has pointed out heavily, he's 100% behind the feasibility study because truthfully, we do need to verify whether or not
That's already underway.
That building needs to be.
And that's why I think the $9 million is not reasonable, Ed, is because it would not surprise me out of that feasibility study that they told us that ground was worth every penny that we paid for it, but don't waste any money on that old building. So what I'm asking is, the 2.5, I think, was a placeholder. In other words, the original money that the commissioners scored, and now we're getting much more specific, and we're saying, hey, we're kind of planning on spending $9 million on this thing. I think that's a mistake. I think let's listen to the results of that study first before we commit $9 million to it.
And I'm asking the court just for that consideration. If it comes to be a viable building, consider it as being the next one down, because it too, I believe there's been money set aside for next year's budget for $400,000.
Feasibility study.
No, for
No.
BISD.
Oh.
500, and that's because again, we got to take care of our buildings, and that one is one that we bought. It was in disrepair at that point. It needs a new roof. It needs to be sealed up around the windows. It needs work. So with that,
I'm asking that we leave the 2.5 million and we do not move to the 9.367 at this point in time, Ed.
But if,
I'm going to turn it over to Trailer for that.
Okay.
further
before you do that, unlimited potential, if Jackie Flagg is here, if she wants to just give us a quick update, we're kind of running behind, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to kind of tell us what's going on out there with y'all's project.
Thank you.
Just speak in the mic.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Sorry. The building, as we just heard from the BISD building, our building is over 50 years old and is not in condition to be repaired. The city of College Station is going to tear it down. It should be done before the end of the year. And we are consulting with architects at the moment. They're going to be simple buildings that will not take a lot. We're anticipating about $200 a square foot. And there will be an admin building in the front of the property. We're hoping that will become a hub also. We're building a 2-story that will be a hub for social services that have their main offices in Bryan, to have sub-offices or satellite offices in College Station. We're consulting with the architects. Hopefully by March of next year, since the building will be down, that we can start construction.
Okay.
And y'all are working with City of College Station on that property under some of their community development block grant money? Is that what they're using for that?
They're using an ARP money, I believe.
Pardon me?
I
ARP
believe
money.
they're using an ARP money.
Okay, but there's none of that their community development block grant. I had
They're
heard from somebody that part of the money was community development block grant.
They're doing the demolition under the CDBG.
Okay, that's the part in their commitment on recovery plan money to unlimited potential is what amount? I missed that.
$2 million.
$2 million from
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
recovery
but
plan.
it'll be a matching fund.
Okay, matched
So-
by,
So through our fundraising, so if we get a fundraising $1 million, then they'll match that $1 million, up to $2 million.
up to 2 million will be their match.
And we have until December 31st of next year to get the money.
Okay, and is it reasonable for us to have the same type of commitment to you to aid you in
Well,
your?
if you guys want to fight
in your-
with
in
each
your-
other, that'd be
No,
great.
no, to increase your matching revenue to 4 million above the 2 million that the city of College Station wants to, has an agreement with you.
I don't quite understand.
Well, if I understand correctly, you said that they're gonna do $2 million matching grant up to.
Right.
Okay, so if you raise $2 million, they're putting in $2 million.
Correct.
Okay,
Which would then be 4.
okay. And what I'm saying is on this $2 million we're thinking about here, would it be helpful in your private fundraising effort if we were to do the same thing and offer that $2 million as an incentive for a matching grant, to where your fundraising could be $4 million matching grant as opposed to just 2? Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying. I don't know that, I'm not an accountant, I'm not sure about that, but my thought is that we're anticipating that it won't be more than $5 million to build everything that we need.
Okay.
So I don't know that that would be helpful.
Yeah, but I mean, part of that could be your initial operations money for.
If you allow that. I don't know.
Those types of things, if that would be, I'm just asking.
College Station is talking about it as construction, not as operations.
Okay, but I mean, if
If
we
you
can-
allow it to be wide open, then that would be great.
Okay, well, maybe we need to check and see if that's a possibility with this money, because it's not under restriction, but I mean, the only reason I bring that up.
Can we use ARPA money
this
as
is a-
match money,
I don't know.
for match money, Wes?
We
We're getting
can,
nods from our consultants.
we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, maybe the way for us to participate would be is to put this on a comparable footing to what the city of College Station is partnering with y'all on, to where it would aid you in your private fundraising efforts as well.
It could. I'm got a feeling it might be kind of confusing as to keeping track of what matching money goes with which.
Commissioner, with all due respect, I think, the UP program this is really innovative, and it's a population that if we take care of, we won't have to feed and house them in the jail later, or provide them indigent health.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I understand that.
I think we just allocate the $2 million to them without the contingency of matching, since they've got the match from City of College Station.
Right.
Because the bookkeeping of where does the match go? Does it go to Brazos County? Does it go to College Station? Does it count for both?
Might be a
It's
nightmare.
confusing.
Thank you, Jack. Yeah,
Well, okay.
it's a discussion
And
we
I
carry on.
understand, and I've been told that I would, somebody would talk to me about unlimited potential, and I haven't had anybody.
I've called your office and you
haven't
didn't
made that.
return my call.
When was that?
6 weeks ago,
Okay.
7 weeks ago.
Did we, okay. Well, I saw you at a social function or at a facility after that, and I'm sorry that you and I didn't follow up in that conversation as far as that goes. So please, if that ever happens again, okay, please call my cell phone, which
Okay.
I believe that your husband has.
Yeah, I don't.
Without question.
Okay.
So if that ever happens, I'd hate for that miscommunication to take place, because as I understand it, the program is for when children turn 18 and they're in foster care, they're out of the system and they're pretty much on their own.
Correct.
And this is a way to do
But
comparable to what the what SOS is doing with the career training that they're doing out there at the Threadgill Center and those types of things.
I vision foster care as 2 different kinds of systems.
Yes.
One is where foster parents have the kids in their house and they teach them, like we teach our kids, the things to do. Another set of kids, usually teenagers, are kids who
are very rebellious, that foster parents don't want them in their house. They
Right.
go into group homes,
Mhm.
and in some situations, actually, it's a juvenile justice system. They are in San Antonio. There's a facility that has foster kids on one side and JVs on the other
Yeah.
side.
So this would not, so this would likely,
So
the
these
vision-
kids do not have any support when they get out of the system.
Okay.
They go back, some go back to their parents, find out that their parents are in exactly the same position as when they were taken out of the families. And so they need support of some kind. They need time to learn how to turn on a microwave. These kids don't even know how to do that. They don't know how to keep clean. We had a young girl a couple of weeks ago complain about the ants in her apartment. And one of the caseworkers went with her to the apartment, and there was a trash bag sitting by the front door that was open, and there was a trash bag sitting in the kitchen that was open, and there was an ant trail running between the two of them. And she didn't understand that that was her fault, not the management's fault.
Right.
And these are the kind of things that they need training in
Yeah.
order to live in an apartment by themselves.
Super, yeah. And the other question is this would not just be something where we are talking about local families and local children. We're talking about this would have a regional draw as well.
Correct. It,
Okay.
it has a statewide draw, to be perfectly
Yeah,
honest.
so we would become a regional center for that type of child, to where we're not just serving our local
These
community,
children-
we're serving a much broader community.
These youth, because they're taken out of their homes and moved all over the state,
Yes.
are now state citizens and not citizens of any one county.
Gotcha.
And may I
Yeah.
add, sir, Commissioner Aldridge, that these kids have aged out of the programs that the state offers.
Yes.
This is a one of a kind, and very few services such as this across Texas. So I think this is very necessary. I think it addresses a special needs population, and there are no other services that I know of that duplicate that service. So it's to be, I think, supported.
I
We
mean,
are-
we've got things like Fun for All Playground in our community that we've all put together. We've got things, all kinds of things,
No,
programs
this
like
is
this,
not-
and expanding this.
And
This
and the
is
city
expanding
of College
into
Station
this.
gave the land for Fun
If
for
I
All
could just
Playground.
complete what I
Right.
was saying without interrupting, I think you'll find that I'm at the same conclusion that you are.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jackie, and I appreciate you coming down and sharing with us.
Okay, can I also say that we are also the pass-through agency for a HUD program for youth aging out to
Yes.
independence, which makes, that draws people to us also.
Yeah, and I'd like to talk to you later about the lack of making contact after you reached out to me,
Okay.
because I need to address that somewhere,
Okay.
in some way.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie.
And thank you for the work you do.
Yeah. So,
$2 million per.
Mark West, is that the next?
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Mark Taylor and Wesley Traylor with Traylor and Associates. We appreciate the opportunity to be here with you this morning. As y'all know, and as we've discussed, fortunately, Ed's already taken care of 75% of our presentation, so the rest of it ought to go good. Back in May, we did come before y'all. Y'all set priorities. Y'all set placeholders for some of these funds. As Ed mentioned, we have weekly meetings with the county. In between, we're in the background, we're chasing things, county's chasing things. We're looking at these projects, we're discussing as it relates to the ARPA funds and ARPA criteria. County's on the backside looking at it as it relates to county and state. And they're like, well, yeah, ARPA can do it, but it's going to create a conflict over here, or we've researched this more, we've got this additional information. So what we're here for today, we came back to you, we've taken these spreadsheets, And we've taken these placeholders, we've moved them around some, and we're back before you for the discussion on these placeholders. And once again, I think the discussions so far have been fantastic. That's the intent of this workshop. Let's talk about where we're at. Oops, excuse me just a second. I'm the hold up here. All right, I apologize, but we've got this up here. Hopefully we can make these changes, any changes y'all want. And once again, these are just placeholders, but this is gonna give us the actual numbers on these placeholders as we go forward.
Can you speak
Mark,
into the mic?
Make sure
sir?
you speak into the mic
Oh,
for us.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm one of those, I've got to walk and talk and move my hands and everything else, so
You're
that
good.
makes it kind of tough. Wesley, you might, can everybody see that okay? Do we need to enlarge it any?
Oh,
Or-
that's okay.
That's what we've got.
That's the exact same spreadsheet that was handed out to y'all this morning. The column on the far right-hand side, those are the placeholders we put in May. The left-hand side is roughly the current placeholders. We know there's already been some changes made to that. Wesley, can you go in there and see about doing some adjustment on those placeholders as we're looking at it? And once again, this is just to try to get the ball a little bit farther down the field. You know, looking at the ARPA funds, we've been working with y'all about 12 months at this point in time, and I know we're all ready to get this ball a little bit farther on down the court than where it is right now. And so that's the intent in this. If there's any of these items you'd like to discuss further, you'd like to express additional opinions on, you'd like more information on, would be more than happy to try to provide that to you.
The $9 million on the BISD building, I recommend strongly that we go back to a much lower number than that, and possibly we can pick up one or two of these roadway projects.
I personally wouldn't want to do that. I mean,
You want to leave it at $9 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do
And I don't
too.
think that's enough to do it.
Yeah.
No matter whether we tear the building down and start all over or whether we remodel, I don't think that $9 million is going to come anywhere close to covering it.
You don't think it would take, that would do the, if we tear it down, you don't think that would cover that?
I mean,
I think it would,
I don't-
Judge. I really do. I think you can tear it down for less than that. Can I ask another question, Mark?
You bet.
I know that you're a consultant to us and that you're a for-profit organization.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any clue what our contract with you on how you're being paid, but I talked to staff, and I think I understand that we've not paid you anything. You've not invoiced us for any amount to date, even though you've worked for a year. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
Okay, so you're no longer a for-profit organization, you're a nonprofit.
Well, if all of our clients were as this one's played out so far, that would be correct.
We've taken
But-
longer
but-
than expected. So,
Well, that's part of it, and part of it is the way our contract is structured. Our contract and what we're to be compensated is based on the various categories that the court elects to put
okay.
these funds
And
into.
that does come
So,
out of the ARPA money?
Yes, that comes, our
Okay,
fee
and is
comes out of
that
the ARPA funds.
reflected in this $42 million figure here?
That
Your-
is
your fee?
reflected up at the top where the current obligation, you've got $150,000 that the court has obligated to the BISD study, and then you've got the vaccination hub that the funds have already been obligated for, and then the admin fees.
And you are admin?
We are admin.
So
And
we
yes,
have obligated money, but we've not paid you any money?
That's correct.
Judge, I'm gonna ask, can we pay these guys something? They've worked a year for us. Is it
It's
possible for us to pay?
well, it's contractual. I mean, I hadn't looked at the contract to see, when it is, but I'm pretty confident that when y'all meet your, whatever it is, that you're gonna put us into Seville. And
Yeah.
so I don't know.
You're gonna
In the
know when we met that
contract, it
milestone,
says
Judge.
how
That's
they're
what I
to
would
be
do.
paid. Commissioner?
Per our contract, until we spend money, we can't pay them. So that's why we kind of want to get the ball rolling. They're probably eager too. So once we write a PO to an architect for this feasibility study or whatnot, we are writing a PO to them as well.
All
And then we
right.
pay them a percentage throughout the whole project. So when we pay the last invoice on the feasibility study, we pay the last invoice to them. So it's hand in hand.
I see some urgency here. I'll put it this way: in my own personal life, if I owe somebody money, if I've contracted with them, then they have every right to get part of it. I mean, I don't want to give them all of it until
But the
they're finished.
contract
but-
was not written that way, Commissioner.
Right,
And
but my question is-
I want to thank Trailer and Mr. Taylor for all that they've done. We appreciate your services, and hopefully we're going to get to the point that we can pay you. May I ask you to go back to the top? The first priority, the medical examiner's office.
Yes, ma'am.
I think in our discussion, we have said that we're going to reduce that 25 million to 24. You might want to make that adjustment. And if we could take line item by line item, we would all be on, I think we would all be on the same page and have a clear understanding, if
Okay.
you don't mind.
No, that's,
Again, thank you all so much.
you bet.
Yeah, I just have one item that was on the cut list, and that's the request that came from Emergency Services District 1 to pave Wingfall in front of their fire station there for the South Brazos County Fire Department, $72,000, and I was just curious if there was a criteria that said that couldn't be done, because ultimately that is, as I understand it, and our engineers here, that's a county road, because we maintain that as a county road. But they're asking for improvements to go specifically on that county road, because they've got a $480,000 they've got a $480,000 truck that they've just purchased that's a tanker.
Okay. Yeah,
Can
we're,
we follow that
I'm sorry.
suggestion?
Can we move this along? Because
we've got, I mean, it's right at 11:45, and we've got a couple that have.
Yeah, is there a reason I can't talk about this one item before we adjourn?
Well, if it doesn't take too long, time's running short.
I'd probably be there.
We'll liable to lose a quorum
if that's fine. If I hadn't been interrupted, I'd probably be there.
And
You think?
Commissioner,
Okay.
is there any reason we can't take the items in order?
I'll just let the ESD1 people come and talk because they're going to come and talk at Commissioners Court meetings, and we'll take the time there. Let's adjourn.
That's fine. All right.
Obviously, we haven't taken care of everything that needs to be addressed.
Right.
And I was talking to Trailer just a few seconds ago about increasing the frequency, increasing a way for communication to the court, and putting on another workshop sooner rather than later, in a matter of a week or two, if it's possible with their schedule. Because we don't want these items to go undone, because staff does need direction, and
Right.
we're looking to push all of these forward.
Yes.
Okay.
So will we reconvene, Judge?
I move we adjourn.
Well, what I think we need to take some action on this
Will you
stuff, not
second that?
today. I mean, I'm not talking
Will you
about
second
today,
that motion?
but, and of course, it wouldn't be next week, but I think I'd put, what the adjustments we made today, I would put them on the agenda, Tuesday, a week
11th.
from the 11th. And we'll take action on it at that time, and then we'll move forward, and hopefully we can begin to spend a little money so y'all can get some money.
Sounds good.
All right.
I heard a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I'll second it if we need to.
Motion made, seconded, to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And thank you, Trailer.
Thank you all very much.